Welcome to episode 6 of Dovetails. DSTV's answer to Desert Island Discs, but perhaps more like favourite tracks in a field. This episode, I'm joined by everybody's favourite Batgirl, Rodney Unicornelius. Rodney DJs under the name of Rodderz, a resident of the Deevstock festival. Rodderz has been gracing us with his fantastic tech house sets for a few years now, and has also been curating the rather wonderful Hear All the Things series, live streamed on Mixcloud Live for DSTV with guest mix DJs for the last few months. This show is going to follow the same format as all the others. We're going to hear 5 of Rodney's favourite tunes, and he's going to be answering your probing, serious and deadly important questions. In the background, you can hear a track called Sparkly Unicorn by Eric Shans and Miss Ella, which I thought was rather fitting for today's show. And as you can see, I have paid homage to his unicorn heritage. I'm not entirely sure where the unicorn stuff comes from, actually. Perhaps I should have asked him that. So, in true Rodderz fashion, get yourself a drink and let's learn all the things about Rodney. Good morning, Rodney. So fabulous to have you on the show.
Thank you. So excited to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, you would be always. You were always on the call list of people to invite. I'm liking your shirt. You have good vibes there. Or just this oud vibe, actually, is what we can see.
Yeah, good vibes.
Good vibes.
It's a Raver Monkey original. I'll show you. It's scroll down and he. Yeah. So he made that for me and sent that over as a gift. So yeah, I thought be perfect for the occasion.
Yeah, definitely. And hopefully we get to see you wearing it in person soon.
Yeah, indeed. Fingers crossed. We're all overdue for getting together again.
Oh my God, yeah, I know. And actually, that's a good point to start. Actually, because my first question was. And I don't think this is something I know the answer to, is how did you get involved with the Deevstock crew? How did you meet everybody? What's your pedigree?
Oh goodness. It's a good question. So the base of it is I'm really good friends with Roman, and so he was my primary point of contact because we both used to work at the same company, IBM, together. So talking and chatting with him, and then we just really clicked. We're able to become friends in addition to colleagues, and so I won't give you all the long details, otherwise we'll be here for 2 hours. But long story short, Ro kind of mentioned Boom Festival, and this was like back in 2014, and he said, hey, look, there's this festival, I really think you'll like it, and he told me about it, and it sounded great. And so I just randomly bought a ticket, and then I was like, okay, I'll be there at Boom Festival. And he's like, oh, okay, yeah, great, all right, fine, perfect. So then I went there, and that was really just the start of meeting everybody, in 2014 and 15 and so on and so forth. So it's just kind of grown. From that. So it's been really wonderful.
Yeah, I had a conversation with Will some months back where we talked about, wouldn't it be fun to map everybody's primary point of contact with the community and see all the different routes in. I really like that primary point of contact. Who's your PPC?
Yeah, who's your PPC?
How do you know Deeve? That was the thing I was asking everybody at my first Deevstock.
Dear.
That's cool, because I knew that you'd met people through Boom, and actually then I met you very shortly after you met Joe and Ray and everybody else then. Because I think we met at Noisily at Joe's glamping tent, when the glamping used to be quite low key on the other side. And that was probably, that might have been 2015 actually.
Yeah,
okay.
Me and Dougie, right, Mark, like we have this ongoing joke saying, when did we first meet each other? And we can't actually answer it. Like I sit there and I think, like, it was racking my brain. I'm like, I don't know the moment I actually said hello to you for the first time. It just feels like it's always been.
That's so nice, isn't it?
That's been a cool feeling. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's have some music. Let's start with your first track. Now, I know that this has been traumatic for you, and that we're near a short list at the moment. So I think you're as excited as we are to see what you're going to choose.
Oh dear. Yeah. I am. Yeah. I just thought, how do you take, literally, I went through I loaded up my MP3s and I thought, how do you get through 15,000 songs and pick like the 10 that matter? So I was like, oh, so yeah, I'll tell you what, my first song, and I'm not going to go this route of all cool dance tracks and everything like that. Some of it's going to be.
I'm not sure anybody has.
So, my first track is actually Rhythm Nation by Janet Jackson.
Okay.
Yeah. So way back when. And so then I thought about, well, why did I pick that track? And I was a teenager, and I heard that song for the first time, and the whole concept of the song was like everybody united, dancing, in music, and you could be whoever you are, whatever you are, and it was all fine, and we were all kind of glued together by rhythm, and song. And that was just kind of really powerful for me to hear as a teenager, that as someone who was kind of trying to find his own community, I found music could be the way that I could build community with others. So that's the reason why it was my first track.
Brilliant. Great choice. What a great way to start the show. So what was it about that track then? Was there something about the music itself as well as the lyrics? Was that the sort of music that you were into as a teen?
Yeah, I'd say so. It was the lyrics and the message. And so, I grew up in a house that, had a lot of R&B and soul and hip hop and kind of urban music. And so then here I was out of my family of, with me and 5 other siblings. Here I was kind of going in a different direction, liking a different style of music compared to what I grew up with. And then that just kind of resonated with me because, again, I'm probably letting on that I'm a big Janet Jackson fan, but I think she was like one of the many women who I think broke different genres of music. She wanted to do a rock song, she did a rock song. She wanted to do a pop song, she did a pop song. She wanted to do a country song, she did a country song. And so I like the concept and the thought that I'm not going to let my surroundings define me, and I'm going to do what I want, and I'm going to listen to what I want, and I'm going to dance how I want, and that's all cool. So that's really what kind of drove that. That's what drove that song selection.
Awesome. So that was in Boston. Am I right?
From correct.
Boston, yeah. So, I mean, I'm going to ask you how somebody from Boston ends up in Stockholm later. But for now, what was the music scene like there? What were your first clubbing experiences? And Drew wants to know what the first record was that you bought as well.
Oh God, yeah. So the clubbing, I guess I didn't do a whole lot of clubbing in Boston. To be honest, I was a bit reserved. It's a bit surprisingly. So this is kind of where I thought, man, nothing's really going to link together. So my very first CD I bought was actually Depeche Mode. Yes, because I think I heard Policy of Truth, and I just fell in love with that track, and then Enjoy the Silence, so on and so forth. So that was really the first CD that I owned.
That's very cool.
Yeah,
you've escalated 100 more Rodney points in my
excellent. Woo, because I'm going to bring them back down a little bit later, but yeah, for the
moment. Cool. Cool. So carry on.
Go on, please.
I was just going to say, so how long were you in Boston for? When did you move away?
So I actually moved away for a year. When I was 18, moved away for a year to go to university. Didn't like my university that I chose, so I switched back to a university in Boston, and then I left when I was about 22. So just getting into the clubbing age. I mean, so I didn't leave. It's just my job was involved global travel. So I was literally, right out of university, I was literally traveling around the world, 11 out of 12 months a year. So there was the opportunity for lots of clubbing, but I would find myself clubbing in like London or Prague or Sydney or Tokyo or whatever, just trying to get in all these different
22.
Experiences.
How amazing. Wow. I mean, that's something that I always found absolutely staggering about how you managed to do that. I think you've sometimes posted on Facebook some amazing stats about how many airports and how many travel trips you've done with work recently, and it's made me wonder how on earth you coped being in one place during the pandemic.
It's been different, right? So I've been to 78 countries so far in my life. I was telling I can't remember what I was talking to, but I was telling them that the pandemic, I went for the year prior to the pandemic, I literally was at an airport twice a week. And then I went, from being at an airport twice a week to not being at an airport at all. And I thought I would go stir crazy, but actually I've coped quite well. That being said, I see an airplane in the sky and I'm like, oh, I can't wait. Like this, soon, Rodney, you'll be back up there. But yeah, I've coped quite well. Of course I miss the London crew. And I miss the option of being able to go whenever I want to go. But, I also try and keep a balance about that, it's going to come back maybe not in the same form, but it's going to come back. So, and when I finally see other people, it'll be that much better. So I just tell everyone, get ready for like awkwardly long hugs, and I
yeah.
Yeah.
I've just got this image of what Deevstock's going to be like in September. Is just everybody staggering around crying all the time. It's just such a relief and so wonderful to see everyone, and just huge groups of people just in like a rugby scrum weeping. And nobody in the tent. I'm starting to well up now.
Well, see, and I'm normally one of the people who helps out with parking, and so like my first thought.
Oh, you're going to see the first people that they see.
Yeah, exactly. And my first thought was like, oh man, we're gonna have to come up with like a 15-minute hugging rule. Then you have to park your car, or else like we'll be backing up the highway, right? But
yeah, you might end up with sort of some awful injury, and maybe there's going to be like a whole load of hugging chiropractors will be put out with people going, oh.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Oh, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. So right, we're going all over the place, aren't we? I definitely didn't need another coffee this morning. The global travel. I suppose I've got to ask, what's your favorite places in the world out of those 78 countries? That's a tough one.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I my answer, I don't have an answer. I don't have an answer anymore. I used to, and then I realized I didn't believe it. So I like certain things about different places. So I like the relaxed vibe and kind of the energy of Sydney, but most insects and things there are trying to kill you. So I balance that out. Right?
Not big on the insects.
Yeah, not big on the insects thing. No. So yeah, in the meanwhile, I love I love places like Budapest and Prague. I just like the small feel, and that everything is still relatively accessible and connected. So it all depends, right? Kind of like I try not to sound snobby, right, at the same time, but I think there are just things to enjoy about every city. So I try and pick those things that I enjoy. So it's incredibly hard to rank, because no one city has everything I want, but every city has something I appreciate.
That's a really lovely way of putting it, and that explains why global travel is so important to you, I guess.
Yeah, indeed.
But then I suppose it also depends what you're going for, doesn't it? And what you want from the place, because I imagine you don't see a huge amount of where you're going on your business trips because you're there to work, right? So I usually, when I'm going to conferences and things, always add a few days on either here or there, or kind of, maybe say skive off a couple of days and go off and see some stuff. And obviously when I'm there for a conference, usually the organizers have planned an itinerary, so you get to see the kind of typical highlights. But I often say, I've been to loads and loads of places, but I've actually been to like tiniest little bits of quite a lot of places.
Indeed, I've done the same. I pretty much always add some time just to get to understand the city. I mean, even kind of when it's safer, when it's the city safe to do so, even just kind of like walking around at night or early in the morning as you just see things starting up. It's just an interesting way to see the world.
I agree, because I remember going to Bangkok was somewhere I really didn't enjoy at all. I didn't like it. I just really found it a very difficult city. And I've been going to Thailand down to the islands for several times.
Oh, wow.
And then it's one of my favorite places down in the Gulf. And then one day, one trip, we took the train and got into Bangkok at 6 a.m. and decided to just go for a wander. Left our backpacks in the station in the locker, and it was absolutely amazing. Just down these tiny side streets, getting lost and seeing the local people doing their thing. There was like a whole Buddha supermarket that just sold all the stuff you see in temples, all the garlands and the plastic statues, and then there were people gilding statues, and it totally changed my view of the city. It was amazing.
That's
and
awesome.
Just crazy to see. We sort of got very lost, and then we're like, where the hell are we? But that was when we were then able to open up Google Maps and see where we were. So those sorts of things make it a bit easier, don't they?
Not the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, we should talk about some more music, shouldn't we?
Indeed.
So what is track number 2?
Track number 2. I thought track number 2 would be Lola's Theme by the Shapeshifters.
these are amazing selections. Before we went on air, before we started recording, Rodney was like, no one is going to understand why I've chosen any of these tunes. Like, they totally resonate with me so far.
It gets weirder later, but yeah.
I want to see if we can squeeze all 10 in.
Yeah, we could try, but yeah, Lola's
theme. Fantastic. Sure. And you can tell us why after we listen to it, because I'm itching to hear it now.
Fair enough.
I love that song. I love it so much. I saw the Shapeshifters twice in one festival, actually, because I had VIP tickets to Global Gathering in 2009, I think it was. And we saw them on the main stage, and then we saw them play a much smaller gig in the VIP arena, which was, that was nice, actually. And do you know what? They played the same set, though. That's pretty shit, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
I was like, that's not very VIP.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, they're paying them enough. You'd think that you think they'd come up with a different track list, or at least just arrange the order.
I was a bit kind of like amazed that we even noticed that it was the same set, though, to be fair. My friend and I. So that was the festival that I wasn't feeling very well. I went and lay down. It was about 11 o'clock on the Saturday night, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to go and get my head down for an hour or so and see if I feel better. Then carry on partying till 6 Sunday morning. Fell asleep and woke up and it was all over. And the thing was, my tent was camped right next to the God's Kitchen Hard House Arena, or it's Tidy or something. And it was like proper 150 BPM hard house doing this through the ground. I reckon it sent me to sleep.
Oh, yeah. I was like, wow, okay.
I was absolutely woke up at 6 and it was silent. And I was like, oh, I missed it. It's awful. So anyway,
hard house lullabies. Yeah.
Hard house lullabies. Yeah. How did you pick the Shapeshifters? What is it about that track that you like?
Yeah. So I think it was really just around when I moved to Sweden, or a few years afterwards. And I think the song just kind of put everything into words and a beat. Just my experience, right? Because I was in Sweden. I just moved, kind of new life, away from everything I knew. I maybe not necessarily a different person, but I could be whoever I wanted, whatever I wanted, however that was going to be defined. There were no limits. And so the song just kind of, I don't know, I just associate with freedom, and just like, right, you're going to be you're your own person. It's, it's your life to do with what you want. Here you are. This opportunity is before you. If you're smart, you make something good of it. If not, well, okay.
Yeah. And it goes. Yeah, that's lovely. So, and that, of course, beautifully brings us into, why Sweden? Why Stockholm?
Yeah. So so I had been doing, as I said, I worked with IBM. I was doing this global auditing consulting role for the past, for the 4 years, and I just kind of got not tired, because tired's not the right word, but it was it's interesting when you're at 22. It's great to travel the world, but you're seeing the people around you in those 4 years. They're getting married, having kids, getting into relationships. Life is kind of going on as normal, and I'm sitting there with probably not with a different type of experience, right? So I thought, right after 4 years, I said, it's time to I think it's time to settle down somewhere. So I had to talk with my boss, and so I kind of had 3 choices. The choice was to go back to the US, and I just wasn't interested. The travel bug bit a bit too strong, so there was no going back. There was Singapore.
That bug's okay then. The travel bug.
The travel bug is absolutely perfect. Yeah.
It doesn't creepy crawly.
No, it doesn't. So yeah, it was the US, it was Singapore, or it was Sweden, and kind of went to Singapore. I gravitated towards Singapore. Kind of spent a month there, and for all the wonderful things Singapore has, it's just, I would constantly ask people, what's the best thing about Singapore here? And they're like, the airport, because you can go anywhere you want. And I was like, so I'm going to move to a country where the best thing about it is the ability to go somewhere else. I was like, I think what I'll do is I'll give Sweden a try. So essentially kind of gave Sweden a try. Moved, came to Sweden my first day. It was actually in like June or something. I got to the hotel because I hadn't been settled in yet. I got to the hotel at like 11 at night. That's fine. I just kind of crashed immediately. And then I opened my eyes and the sun was up, and I was like, I'm late for work. I got to hurry up and get dressed. And so like, I jumped up, like I showered, like I got dressed because, it's my first day, and I get downstairs and I'm like, oh my God, you got to call me a cab. And they're like, and I'm like, I'm late for work. And they're like, who works at like 4:30 in the morning? And that was kind of my introduction to Scandinavia, and the fact that the sun comes up amazingly early. So then I swore and went back to bed for a few hours. But I kind of thought,
really weird, isn't it? It's amazing, but also really strange that it doesn't really get dark. I remember this was in the days when I was still heavily drinking, and it was again an academic conference. They're just very, very debauched. You wouldn't think so, but they are. And standing around outside quaffing wine and smoking and chatting and going, we should go for dinner in a minute, and they're realizing it was like 1 a.m. and it's just dusk, and you're like, shit, there's nowhere to eat and I'm really drunk.
Yeah, been there many times. Yeah, indeed. But yeah, I just thought, yeah, it's a place to. It grew on me quite quickly, and it's been Sweden's been fantastic. So
Yeah, I mean, how do you cope with the other end of things though when it's grey? It doesn't really get light much
I don't. I mean, I
in
don't
the winter.
have much of an issue with it. I'm a big fan of candles and really cool funky lights in the apartment. So yeah, for me it's fine. I mean, I like the cityscape in the daytime. I mean, I like it at night. I also love the cityscape at dawn, just when the sun is breaking. And for me, it's all quite nice. I just try and see the good, and I try to see the good and interesting parts of it.
Yeah, and it's something about the extremes. That appeals to me. I must admit, the kind of there's nothing British about Swedish weather or Swedish light, where it's sort of a bit in between, is there?
Yeah.
It's you don't get as much snow as I thought. It was always snowy in Scandinavia, but especially in southern Finland in particular, it's very grey and it's just grey and slushy. But I think you get a bit more sort of white, don't you, in the winter?
Yeah. Yeah, a bit more. I mean, you have to, and the more up north you go, the more it's possible that it's like snowing in May. And you're like, okay, that's a bit too much for me. I love the extremes. I mean, I come from Boston, so cold and snow are nothing new to me. But within moderation. I don't want to be digging myself out every like 6 weeks or something.
Yeah, basically got 3 months if you're lucky, and then the first snow happens again. Yeah. Well, obviously we had to talk about the weather because I am British, so I'm glad we did that. So okay, so when you arrived in Sweden, you're Lola's theme shapeshifters and getting up at 4:30 for breakfast. And so Elaine has asked whether you see yourself staying there forever, which I thought was a great question.
Yeah, it is a great question. It's always one I put it this way. I have no plans to move. My rule is, and I think always will be, if I like the vibe of where I am and I'm having fun and things are good and interesting and and I get a chance to participate in the community and make a difference, I don't see a reason to leave. So far, all of those boxes have been, all those boxes continue to be checked. If that ever changes, like I say, I think the travel bug is bitten quite hard. So I'll never be opposed to relocating if it makes sense and it feels like the right thing to do. But so far, happy.
Yeah, that's lovely. That's really nice to hear. And how long have you been
there? Goodness, been almost 20 years now.
Wow, gosh. So that's a long time to still be in love with the place. And that's clearly what you are. You're in love with the place. Yeah,
indeed. I'll tell you, I came really close to maybe right before Brexit, and we'll spare all the details of that. But I think in the period before Brexit, I was actually seriously considering moving to the UK, and then just for various reasons, things just didn't connect the right way. So I mean, I have thought of leaving, but I've been really, really happy in Sweden. Things are just going really well. So and I became a Swedish citizen, so now I've got dual citizenship, and so I'm fairly committed, I think.
Can you speak some Swedish for us?
Jag är inte säker vad jag kan säga, men kanske jag kan säga jag gillar olika typer av musiken. Precis som drum and bass och tech house. Och jag också gillar techno. So
cool. Okay, so I picked up drum and bass, tech house, and techno from that. That's Swedish.
So I said I'm not sure what I should say, and then I started to talk about the different types of music that I like.
Excellent. It's funny, it's like that when you're in a pen shop and you pick up a pen to test it and you write, I like this pen. You got a single thing to write.
What should I write?
Was that? I mean, that must have been super tough learning Swedish.
I'd say I'm 80% of the way there. I'm pretty sure there are any fellow Swedes in the audience, they're laughing because they always laugh at accented Swedish, but that's fair enough. But yeah, it was, Sweden, the Swedish has like, if the book of Swedish is 100 pages, 4 pages are the rules and 96 pages are like why those rules don't apply. But that's fine.
Oh my God, there's quite a lot of exceptions in British grammar. So in
yeah,
English, yeah, and I also find it amazing how you can learn a language. Not that I speak anything particularly well. I speak French to get by, but that's it. But then there's all of the different nuances, and people laugh, and you think, "What's wrong with that?" And then go, "Oh, you wouldn't say that like that," or, and all the colloquialisms, and it's learning how to use a language is as hard, I think.
I think that's exactly it. Yeah, learning how to use it is the pain.
And especially, I feel so sorry for my students that learn English, because we say everything and we don't mean any of it. We mean the yeah. So tell us about how you started DJing. How did that come about? What was the shift from? We'll have another bit of music in just a sec, but start that story to tease us, and then another bit.
Goodness. So I mean, basically, the Deevstock crew, I'll say, is a lot of DJs, right? And so it's always I love listening to music. I always loved listening to music, and music's always been a big part of my life. So at the first Deevstock, it was just watching all of my friends, or many of them, just kind of socializing, talking, and then just saying, "Oh, it's time for me to go behind the decks." Okay. And then they would kind of go behind the decks, and I was just, and I was just watching, and I just like, this is a bank full of buttons, right? This is just a table full of buttons, right? But they're making it work. And so my thought was, well, I can do that, I think. And so then I bought and so then a few months later, after Deevstock 1, I just walked past a DJ shop, and they had the DJ XX, the Pioneer DDJ SX2 on sale. And I just kind of went in, I'm like, yeah, I want that one, because I'm going to be a DJ now. And so much so, so got that, brought it home, I think posted on Facebook and said, yes, I'm going to learn how this works. And then really just kind of got in, tried to get into it, and tried to get things started. And then, I think Phil Axe contacted me later that year in December, and said, hey, for the second Deevstock, how would you like to be a DJ? I have a set. And, I think I was writing Phil, I was trying to politely decline. So I was telling Phil Axe, thanks, I'm so honored, but I'm just not ready. He's just like, wow, sounds like you'll fit on a Saturday. I'm like, yeah, it really is. I love it. I'm so glad you thought of me. It's just going to take a lot of practice. He's like, yeah, early evening sounds great. I was like, okay, I'll do it. Yeah.
Yeah, well done, because it's absolutely terrifying. It really is. Those first few gigs, you just think, I don't remember anything. I don't know how this works. I don't remember anything. It's just, but it's the only way to get better.
Yeah.
Because you have to perform, and you have to, and then you go, oh, I didn't do so bad. And people danced, and people I didn't know danced.
Yeah.
And like, that's the amazing thing. They weren't doing it because they had to.
Yeah, and that was the thing, right? So my first DJ set, I mean, I loved it. I Phil Axe came to Stockholm. I mean, he really, I really have to give him a lot of credit. He did a lot of, he worked with me a lot to make sure my very first set was successful. And I had I had a lot of people, in the group say, don't worry, you're surrounded by all your friends. Like, we'll love you no matter what. Just go and do it. And I'm like, it's such a lovely sentiment, but you're my friends. So it's not that bringing my B game is not good enough. I'm gonna, because you're my friends. So I'm gonna make sure I do a really, 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 really good job. I think I probably spent 20 hours or so preparing for my set, at least. At least, I did all the classic DJ mistakes. I went and just listened. I think I just went to Beatport, clicked the select all button, was like, download it all. I just need music, right? But yeah, I got there in the end, and it was a really good set and a really great experience. So yeah, that was the journey to becoming a DJ for the first time.
Yeah, it's a lovely story. It's a lovely story. There's more I want to ask you about it as well, but let's have some music.
Indeed.
So what's track number 3?
Yeah, so this is where I'm looking at my trusty notepad because I'm thinking I said there would come decision time. Yeah, and so it's I kind of had a choice between All I Do by the Kleptomaniacs or You See the Trouble with Me by Black Legend. And I think I'm going to go.
This is live, isn't it? Because then we can have audience voting.
Yeah, indeed. So I think I'm going to go You See the Trouble with Me by Black Legend. And that was that was my first proper clubbing. That track is associated with my first proper clubbing experience. And yeah, so I remember it fondly, even though the song and the video are kind of cheeky, but that's all right. Okay,
let's listen to that. I don't know that one actually.
Yeah, it's interesting. So it was a club. It was a club set played kind of like in the 2000s. So most of the major, like, I don't even call it EDM. I mean, but it is. It's like, yeah, it was really strange. It's just, it just played. Clubs would play it, and like everyone would go crazy for it. And it was. And it was my first club in Sydney, of all places, and they played it, and just the roof blew off the building, and I just kind of thought, like, I don't even know this song, but these are my people, and I'm just gonna go nuts. Yeah.
So let's move to perhaps one of the most important questions that we've been asked. We have many questions here from the Deevstock community, and I think I'll start with Nick wants to know what your favorite sandwich is. Let's start easy.
Yeah, that's almost as it's almost as challenging as finding your 5 favorite songs. There's always a good sandwich, isn't there? So I would say I think my favorite sandwich is a Philly cheesesteak.
Oh, I had a Philly cheesesteak in Philly.
See, yeah, all right, then you know what I mean.
I was disappointed.
Were you?
Yeah, because it has squeezy cheese on it.
Oh, that's like one of the best.
Is that the best bit? Am I missing?
So it's not the best bit, but that's like one of the things that makes it like.
Yeah, I don't know what I was
cheese, all this stuff. I was like, yeah, it's just something it's Moorish, and it's just something like you have it only. Yeah, you don't have it all the time. But yeah, but whatever in Philly, I will find myself one of those sandwiches.
Yeah, okay, that's a good choice. But Christoph, no, it was Siobhan. Sorry, Siobhan wanted to know first. Now this is going to take some explaining, isn't it? Would you ever consider becoming Rodney Three Chairs? So I think that in order to answer that question, you need to explain why you are Rodney Two Chairs.
Yeah,
and then we can progress to potentially expanding the board.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm just telling everyone, prepare to be underwhelmed. But yeah,
I remember this story as being absolutely hilarious. So don't let me down.
Oh dear. No, I mean, yeah, I think I can't. We were at a house party essentially, and I was just tired, and I just needed a place to sleep. And so of course you could pick like the couch, or you could or wherever there was free space. And then there were just 2 chairs put together. And so then I thought, right, I'll sleep, I'll just take one of these chairs and go to sleep. But then I was just thinking, what if someone wakes me up? That'll be annoying. So then I just decided to sleep underneath the chairs, because then I realized, right, because no one's gonna like bump into you, no one's gonna kick you or whatever. So yeah, I basically just kind of wiggle underneath the 2 chairs, and to my benefit, I had wonderful sleep. I'm just gonna make that clear. It was relaxing and refreshing, and no one like kicked me or hit me or put their drink on me, not even once. I probably just looked odd. Yeah.
But I can't remember. I think it was Steve, but it was at my birthday party, wasn't it? That you told us this story. I don't know how it came about. I think you just had a snooze on the sofa, and this story. But then I can't remember what the hilarity was about. The fact that I can't remember the best bit. The story. It doesn't make sense, does it really? But I think we were just kind of like, how big were the chairs? Because you're not a small man.
Yeah.
I think maybe that was it. It was like 2 chairs. What? Tiny, like that's what Christoph wanted to know, and I'm actually going to have to read this out because it's such a great comment. And he said, similarly, I'd love to know a bit more about the chairs. Were they backs? Were they padded? Were they camping chairs or dining chairs? Was it the sort of chair that you'd be happy to own, or would it be opposed by the chairman? Was it simply a case of so far so good, or a willing and takeable spot for a knackered body? So I think it was kind of, we were like, what, 2 dining chairs pushed together? How the hell did you sleep underneath that?
Yeah, very carefully, put it that way. Yeah, you have to. I know, I won't say. I won't deny there was a bit of like wiggling involved to get to like the perfect sleep position. But yeah, that was. Yeah, but that was it. So everyone everyone just kind of thought I was odd, because they're like, but there are 2 perfectly good chairs. Why didn't you just sit on top of the chair like everyone else would? And I'm gonna be me. Leave me alone. Yeah.
And so I guess if you were to be Rodney, and then of course we just called you Rodney Two Chairs from then on, 2 chairs Cornelius, etc. So the then Siobhan's comment about 3 chairs actually would be quite luxury, wouldn't it? You could push 3 chairs.
Yeah.
That would be quite hard, wouldn't it, to find 3 empty chairs?
Yeah. Indeed. I think that would be too much. I think kind of I think I might be remembering the part that was people found funny, but it didn't really have anything to do with the two chairs. Because I think I was telling everybody when I was younger, and my sister, she threw a party because she moved to a new apartment and she was finally getting her own place, and she invited my family. She had to invite the family, and of course I'm like 14 and they're all kind of older, 5, 6, 10 years older. But my mom was like, you got to bring Rodney along too. So everyone was having fun, so on and so forth. They just kind of left me alone. And I kind of walked past the drinks table, and me being 14, not knowing it any better, I just had a cup and I just poured a little bit of everything in the cup. And then I drank it, and then I got really drunk, and I ended up hiding under the couch, and I wouldn't come out. So then they were like poking me with a stick to try and get me to come from underneath the couch. And finally that's what So So I don't know. I think when I think about it, as far as I'm concerned, it's not a bad place. Maybe I was regressing. I was like, yeah, it works. Yeah, this is a safe place.
Yeah, and actually, that's obviously set you up for. I've heard about your drink all the things parties. Where you have all the random bottles of alcohol you collect on your travels, and then people have to drink all the things. And obviously that came about from your cocktail. Your lovely mug of deliciousness at 14.
For being unsupervised. They got in a lot of trouble, by the way, about that. That was
Were you really sick the next day?
Oh God, yeah, it felt like the end of the world. Yeah. So
yet it never, isn't that funny? Everyone has a story like that from their childhood, and everyone goes on to continue drinking. It's like
indeed.
Crazy, really, isn't it?
Yeah, indeed.
Okay, so there we go, Siobhan, you have your answer. I think. Right. Okay. So, Sol wanted to know how old you were when you discovered that you were actually Batgirl, and how did that feel?
Yeah. So, I mean, I saw that, and I was like, yeah, Sol, thanks for blowing my secret identity first and foremost. Work hard to. Fighting crime became that much harder because now they're going to be like, yeah, that's just Rodney, but that's fine. Not bothered. I first, 4 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, I think. I decided to let everyone know I was Batgirl, and then, but I thought, you can't expose this to the world all at once. You got to test this out at Deevstock. Yeah, so me and Wonder Woman got together, and we decided that we'd make a low-key appearance, try not to draw attention to ourselves, and see how that went. So yeah, so far so good. Yeah, living the Batwoman life. I'm all right.
Yeah. And how is that? Well, how's that been? Has Batwoman been able to be? She's still been under the restrictions from the pandemic, although you haven't had that many restrictions in Sweden, really, have you?
Yeah, it's been relatively free over here. I don't know. I decided that Batgirl is there are several Batwomans, so I'll leave the crime fighting bit to the others in the Batgirl group. I'll be in charge of keeping dance floors safe. So
that's very needed. Yes,
yeah,
brilliant. That's
indeed.
Excellent.
That's what I thought. So you might see her next Deevstock, maybe.
Okay. Let's have track number 4.
Track number 4. Interesting. So I was unsure right up until this conversation, but I think
cool.
I think track number 4, I'm gonna pick "Slave to the Rhythm" by Grace Jones.
Another absolutely brilliant choice. Cool. Okay, tell us why Grace is up there for you.
Just the song. I mean, Grace Jones has always just kind of been her own woman. Fiercely independent. She's going to do what she wants. Her style is her own, and it's kind of reflected in the song, because I listened to the song for the first time, and I thought it's just, there's a lot about it that's just unexpected, and I don't even say unstructured or unorganized, because that's not the case. It's just unexpected, and it's just put together in a very danceable, a danceable way. Yeah. The remixes I've absolutely loved, but even the original. So yeah.
Should we play the remix? Should we play the remix? Let's play your favorite one, because people may not have heard the remix. So.
Okay. Yeah. We can go with the remix.
That would be cool. Can you remember where you were when you first heard it?
Yeah. Where was I? I was in Mallorca. Yeah. I was at a beach. I was at a beach party, and yeah, the DJ just played it, and it had just been a really housey set, and then he played this, and yeah, I don't know. It was just kind of that moment, like being in the sun, having just like come back from a swim, just kind of dancing on the beach with my friends, and it was just listening to, and this letting the music carry you away, and it was just that moment of it just felt good.
Right.
I'm just playing around, baby. Work for days, men who know wheels must turn to keep the flow. Build on up, don't break the chain. Sparks will fly when the whistle blows. Never stop the action. Keep it up, keep it up. Never stop the action. Keep it up. Work to the rhythm. Live to the rhythm. Love to the rhythm. Slave to the rhythm. Axe to wood in ancient times. Man, machine, powered life. Fire burn, hearts beat strong. Sing out loud, the chain gang song. Never stop the action. Oh, keep it up, keep it up. Never stop the action. Come on, keep it up. Breathe to the rhythm. Dance to the rhythm. Work to the rhythm. Live to the rhythm. Love to the rhythm. You slave to the rhythm. Oh, baby. Don't cry. It's only the rhythm. We live to the rhythm, and we work to the rhythm. Love to the rhythm, slave to the rhythm. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here's Grace.
So I had a really exciting message from you the other day saying that you were wanting to know a little bit about courses I might recommend or how to take your first steps into music production.
Yes.
So I was very excited to hear that, because I cannot wait to hear what you'll make. So how's that going? Update me. How are you doing?
Oh dear. Yeah. So I've decided probably a month ago thereabouts that I would start yeah, just wanted to do my hand, try my hand at producing a track. So I say I'm in the very beginning stages. I'm just looking a lot on YouTube. There are a few kind of online classes that I have like a subscription to. So yeah, really just trying to get the basics down. I've downloaded Ableton. I started it up, and so far I've just been like, oh wow, there's a lot of stuff here. Yeah, I gotta go back to the videos for a little bit longer. Yeah, but I do think, just like DJing, it is just going to be, just to jump into it and kind of realize, yeah, the first couple of goes are going to be like, I don't know, frogs in a blender or something, or whatever that is. Yeah, whatever horrible sound here.
You need that to be your first track name. I'm amazing at choosing track names. I have a list on my phone of like, oh, that's a cool track name, yeah. But obviously I then have to write the music. I have a whole album. I have several albums of track names.
Yeah, I mean that's you're kind of, because obviously I'm. I tell everyone I'm president and CEO of your fan club. So I've been reciprocal. So yeah, I've seen the tracks that you've I've heard the tracks that you've been releasing, and I've just been thinking, that's really wonderful. Like I want to give that a try. I don't know how it will go, but if you don't try, then you'll never know, right? Yeah, so I really just I feel like I want to give it a try, and I'll find a set to sneak it in or something, and then maybe
it's such a great feeling.
Yeah. Oh look, maybe I'll send you a few tracks, and and then if you promise not to laugh or cry.
Of course not. No, it's an honor. Whenever anyone shares anything, their writing or their anything that's personal and creative, it's such an honor to be asked to listen. And you're not, let's face it, you're not short of people to give you good, firm but friendly feedback, are you?
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. And so Ron Netgel wanted to know if he had a beautiful, if you had a beautiful body, would he hold it against you, or is it if he had a beautiful body, would you hold it? I don't know. The line.
Yeah. He told me. He said, if I said you had a beautiful body, would you hold it against me? That's right.
Yes. Yes, and you said, on the way to the opticians, if I remember rightly.
Get your vision checked, because I don't know what's wrong with you, but fair enough, buddy. Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't explain the rules to Rodney, did we? That when don't answer the questions on Facebook before the event. But I do think it's good to have a look at the questions, because often you get asked something and your mind goes totally blank, doesn't it? And you think, I don't know what to say.
Where should I answer?
Yeah. So, the other amazing question we had from Nick was, when are you going to dress up? This was a bordering slightly worrying, and I'm hoping there's a backstory to it. Would you dress up as Tina Turner and mime Proud Mary for him, because it's one of his dreams?
Yeah. Part of me wants to say, like, man, you really need better dreams, but I don't know how to fix that bit. But yeah, fair enough. No, where it comes from is Kavina had Kavina and Fran decided to have their their wedding do the hen party, as you say in the UK, and so so all the guys had to go in drag. So I went. I think the best way I've described it to people is I kind of went as like an exhausted Tina Turner who stole someone's wig, and so I had my Proud Mary uniform on, and Kavina loved it, and and Nick thought it was a riot, so he's been trying to get me to come back to Deevstock in like the Tina Turner outfit, and so I sold myself a bit short, because I was like, if you get me a cheeky Nando's, maybe I'll go. And he's like, deal, you can have anything on the menu. I was like, oh man, I thought he was like, say no, but yeah.
We definitely need to see this.
But Tina Turner and Batgirl can't be at the same place at the same time. So there's some, or can they? Yeah, we'll have to figure that out.
Oh yeah, maybe you could do like one of those, like the Joker. It was Two-Face, wasn't it? In Batman, Two-Face.
Yeah, indeed, that might work. Yeah, why not?
Oh, good. I'm glad there was a story behind that, because I was like, that's really weird.
It's really specific, isn't it? Yeah,
It was
yeah,
very. I mean, yes.
information.
And Nick is becoming the Dovetail's resident specific question asker, and also would like to know, how do you eat your chocolate biscuits? Assuming you eat chocolate biscuits, chocolate first or chocolate last, or both together?
I'm just, biscuits don't last that long for me to answer that question. Yeah, that's the truth. Like, yeah, they're chocolate biscuits. I don't understand why you're thinking. I mean, it's just like, less thinking, more eating. Yeah, they're chocolate goodness, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, rubbish question. Excellent question. Rubbish question.
No, excellent question. It just shows my love of chocolate biscuits, I suppose. Yeah. I don't thoughtfully contemplate every bite. Maybe I should do. Maybe that'll lead to a good track or something. We'll see.
Yeah, I've never understood people that would want to eat it separately, because for me the joy is
it's together.
Yeah.
Like an Oreo cookie, right? It's meant to be one. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. So you do have a preference. You just didn't know.
Yeah, there you go.
And I think Ro wanted to know about your guilty pleasure, which I think has become a recurring. So we should have this as a standing item on Dovetails. What's your secret guilty pleasure, if you have one?
Yeah, this is kind of one of those moments. I read it, and I actually thought about it over the last couple of days. I don't think I have a pleasure that I wouldn't tell I wouldn't tell people about. I mean, of course, depending on the audience. I don't think you walk into the Vatican and say, blah blah blah. You've got to have a sense of proportion. But no, I'm trying to maybe my guilty pleasure is listening to a song on repeat, like super repeat. If I really, really like the song, like I don't have a problem listening to it 20 times. If it makes me happy, then it'll just make me happy 20 times. That's probably the most secret pleasure.
Are there some really, really bad foods that you like to eat?
Yeah, but nothing I feel guilty
about. That's a great way to live your life, because actually, why should we?
Yeah, so that's what I felt. I was like, because it's not really about me having a guilty pleasure, not wanting to say what it is. I'm just thinking there aren't things I can think of that I like that I'd be so that it's
that you wouldn't want other people to know.
So
I remember being at another academic conference, actually, critical management studies, which is very much anti-capitalist, lots of really critical views on the world, great, really cool stuff. And it was in Manchester, and I went shopping at lunchtime. I was slightly, not really, it wasn't on the formal agenda, skiving off to go shopping. I went to Primark and Starbucks. So I basically sort of waltzed back into a massive Primark bag and a Starbucks coffee, going, So like you said, in certain circles there are things you're like, I probably wouldn't admit to
I guess I kind of put it, I'm there's a part of me that's hedonistic, so that says you should like what don't harm anyone, but do what you like, and don't spend too much time feeling bad about it.
Own that shit.
Or having a secret. Just own it. That's right. Own it, because why not?
So does that apply to music as well? Because Drew also wanted to know what your worst record was that you'd bought. Is there something that you thought, why the hell did I buy that?
There is, I can't remember the name of the track. There is a track I bought that essentially it looped in, like it was a I think it was a tech house track. It like looped in Mike Tyson, and I don't know why I like this track. I mean, it's
almost to the point that I pressed the wrong button and bought the wrong thing. Yeah.
Well, no, I knew what I was doing. I can't even make pretend, Sam. I just listened to it, and then I put that in my, we joked about I have a network server, so I put that song in the never ever want this to see the light of day track, section. I just thought,
yes.
It's just
you're under maximum security.
Yeah,
you could have just deleted it. You could just delete it.
Yeah, but I bought it, so I just might as well hold on to it, and just it's a reminder that I play every once in a while and think like, question your life choices every once in a while so that you make better decisions. So I listen to that song and say, right, all right, I'll get that.
It's there as your reminder. If you can't be a good example, be a horrible reminder.
Yes.
Something like that. So we've been talking for an hour. Can you believe that?
Really?
I know, it goes so quickly. So we have one more question, and then we're going to have your last track. Oh, actually, let's save the last question for after your last track. So track number 5, the big finale.
The big finale, yeah.
I'll let you choose your outro music as well, so you get 6 in, and your intro if you like, so you can actually get 7.
Oh goodness.
Is that not helpful?
Outro, no, it's not. No, that's fair enough. I'm just looking at kind of what I wrote. Goodness, it comes back once. All right, it comes back once they're on opposite sides of the spectrum. It comes back to either need to decide. It's either Fight the Power by Public Enemy, or it's a song called Happy Up Here by Rishop.
I don't know either of these songs.
So I think I'm gonna go for Happy Up Here by Rishop. Okay. They're a Norwegian DJ. I think they're Norwegian, but they're Norwegian DJs, and the song is just very it's just bubbly, happy house.
It has a nice title for sure.
Yeah, indeed. The cover album is like a light bulb smiling. So
that sounds like a good one to end on. So where did you discover those guys?
Um, yeah,
Yeah, how do you
I look.
discover your new music in general, actually?
Yeah, I'd love to say I've got a fantastic story behind that one. I think that one just kind of showed up from like Discover Weekly and
Mm,
Spotify,
mm,
um, which drives a fair bit of the music I discover. So
yeah,
I tend to use Discover Weekly as the base. Thanks to the power of AI and relentless logging of our preferences, it seems
yeah.
to know what I like, and then I kind of use that to I just kind of use that to explore from there, and then I usually end up over in Beatport or Bandcamp, and I'm just normally it's kind of like it's dorky, right? It's kind of like getting lost in Wikipedia. Maybe I'm the only one who does that. Like I go to search for topic A, and all of a sudden I'm like reading about nuclear fusion, and I'm like I was looking for like I
How
was
to
looking for
scramble an
like
egg.
yeah, indeed. How to scramble an egg, or I was reading the film synopsis of a movie. How did I get here? But fair
Yeah,
enough.
yeah. It's like you can't go from A to B. It's like you go from A and then you end up with Z and H and P and Q.
Yes.
Yeah, but music is like that, isn't it? Because you go, oh, that looks like a cool producer. Let's listen to the rest of their tracks, and then they've released on that label quite a lot, and then there's an interesting remixer, and you're just like, what was I looking for again?
Indeed.
Yeah.
So before you know it, you've just got a basket full of everything, and then you're like, all right, Rodney, got to make some choices. But
Yeah.
that's
Do
the way I
you?
normally do
How do you? Are you a shopper? Do you have a hold cart, or do you just buy?
Yeah, I have a hold cart, so everything kind of gets funneled into uh, potential. Like that's the name of the cart, like potential, and then essentially I go and find it on Spotify, and I'll listen to the whole track, and then if I like it, then I'll buy it. But yeah, because I think there are maybe only five. I'd say out of every 50 tracks. I mean, I don't. You're probably the same, right? But out of every 50 tracks, 2, 3, maybe I'm just like I already know the answer. It's going in, right? But
Yeah.
most things I have to. Yeah, most things for me, I want to listen to it once, and then sometimes I'll listen to it twice. But normally, if I have to listen to it twice, then like it's not meant to purchase, but it's meant to go into like my personal playlist.
Right. That's a very considered strategy.
Yeah, indeed. Doesn't always work, but that's at least what I try.
Yeah. It's I'm much quicker than that. I tend to just put
Are
things
you
in my cart. I listen to them again briefly to check. Yeah, that's okay, and then I just buy it.
really? All right.
Yeah.
I wish I could.
Which probably means the good side of that is that it does mean that sometimes when I'm playing a set or I'm going through because I organize everything in playlists according to the sort of feel of the track. So I have kind of like tech chewy, tech dirty, tech.
I like that.
I have techno simple, just techno or whatever. But sometimes I'll be going through because I need a certain vibe for something, and I go, I don't even know what half these tracks are. So it's like a rediscovery again. It's quite good fun. You're like, oh, I didn't know. Don't remember
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, not always. But Drew has the same. He has the same very considered a way of buying his music, and it does mean that when he plays, it's like prize every time. It's like, wow, this is amazing. How do you find this stuff? So yeah, there's definitely merit to be had.
Yeah, see, I like to think that's how I operate. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Your music choices are always absolutely spot on. So we have we actually have two last questions. Lisa wanted to know, were you a good boy at school or were you a rebel?
Yeah, the laugh probably gave some of that away. Yeah, went in cycles, I'd say. Yeah, but overall, I think if my mom were watching, she'd say, yeah, he was good. So yeah, generally speaking, I mean, I love school. I don't think people are supposed to say that. You're supposed to like be cool and say like, yeah, he's cool. But I love school. I love school so long as I was challenged. So so if I were challenged and stimulated and thought things were going well, then yeah, I would just do great at school, get like high marks and everything. But there were kind of a couple of times growing up where I got really, really bored and just really didn't feel stimulated or challenging. So Yeah, so funny. So there, I mean, there are a couple of times where I actually just kind of refused to go to school because I just didn't. I was just like, yeah, what's the point? I'm not learning anything. It's boring. But yeah. Then I got Then I got set straight. Those couple of times, and then yeah. So more or less, yeah. Fits and starts. I think every teenager explores the boundaries a bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I was quite bad. I didn't go to school much in my final year, and it's interesting to hear you say that, because I think probably that was part of my problem. Was kind of, I was always bright, and so it was like, why? I'm bored. But you don't see that at the time, do you?
yeah.
My worst one was I got a squeezy bottle of hydrochloric acid and etched a great big cock and balls in the chemistry floor. Yeah, that like parquet flooring with varnish. And I was probably about 14, 15, so it's quite childish, isn't it?
Oh goodness, no, I love it. Oh, absolutely, I love it.
It's
I think
still there.
no, that's fine. That's fine. I'd say my was like, yeah, I think I would like in high school, I think I would leave school like after the middle of the day or something. I'd just be like, yeah, I've had it.
I've had enough now. Yeah.
Like I can't take this anymore. And then they would just kind of, then they would just kind of yell at me, and they say, well, if you don't get caught up, I think they said like, oh, if you don't get caught up, we're gonna keep you back. And I was like, fine. So then I kind of like made up like 4 months of work in like a few weeks, and they're like, okay. I was like, yeah, I can do it. It's just I don't want to be here. That's the difference. Yeah, but
yeah, it's not that I'm not able. Yeah. So, and to finish, Phil Raven Monkey wants to know what your next big plans are.
Yeah. I thought about that, and I thought that grand sweeping question.
Yes.
To answer that, and about life, about music, about so I think I'll start musically. So musically, I need to I have the strong desire to play kind of to do kind of like drum and bass sets. Like I have a ton of drum and bass tracks, but then I kind of practice, and I just kind of think, oh my God, I don't, I feel the people who don't have ears are probably a little bit luckier than everybody else listening at the moment. So it doesn't tend to go very well, but I'm getting there. Ben Nizon's set from last week was
I missed it.
Absolutely inspiring. It's just like, wow, okay, Rodney, you can, up your game here. You can do this. So I took a lot of inspiration from that. And Tim has been giving me drum and bass DJing lessons.
That sounds good. I think I've only tried a few times, and it's okay, but I find it exhausting, and I think it requires a different style of mixing.
Yeah, it does.
It's very different to tech house.
Yeah, I don't
know what that is.
That's what I'm learning. So I think my next big stuff, as you say, production, kind of getting into other genres, and I just kind of say, and then next up, maybe playing out a bit more than kind of doing Deevstock and then things, private things for friends and stuff like that. So I thought, I want to make sure I don't lose the vibe and the passion for music, because it really does. I can't think of a single day where I don't listen to music. I can't think of a single day where it's not part of my life in some way, shape, or form. So I kind of want to nurture that. I want to be one of those Facebook people, I want to be one of those people on the future of Facebook in decades from now, where they say, look at that 90-year-old spinning those decks. There'll be me like, change my diaper or whatever, whatever strange thing.
I think we probably all will be. I think we should just have all live in a big care home, and then just rave. Although there's so many different generations and ages at Deevstock, aren't there? So
that's right. Hold that thought. Ben and I have an idea that we should have a
Ben can look after us all, for God's sake. He's so young. Oh no, let's not go down that route. Okay, so this is going to be a long episode. I think we may not be able to play all the tracks all the way through. It's been absolute joy to talk to you, Rodney. Thank you so much for being such a great guest.
Thank you.
And yeah, so what's going to be your outro track? Do you have a preference for me to play for a minute or two at the end?
I think for a minute or two at the end. Yeah, then I would go back to All I Do by the Kleptomaniacs.
Okay.
That's if there's time for it, then that's just it's a nice way to end the session.
Okay, amazing. Then let's play out to that. Thanks so much, Rodney.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.